that, and men think I'm being chauvinistic.
No, it's not at all, because they'll accept a certain amount, they'll accept a little more aggression.
Allegations ranging from a toxic work environment, bullying, now even sexual harassment.
Ellen DeGeneres was once one of the brightest stars on television, a comedian, talk show queen, and cultural icon whose signature kindness and humor made millions smile. For decades, she was America's friend, the host in a purple chair bringing joy, laughter, and compassion to everyday lives. But today, at age 67, that light feels dimmer. Headlines whisper of personal struggles, health challenges, the weight of public scrutiny, and a legacy fractured by controversies that tarnished her once pristine image. What went wrong? How did the woman who made kindness her brand end up battling shadows from her past? From the success and happiness she built with her wife, Portia de Rossi, to the turning point when her talk show shut down amidst allegations of a toxic work environment, Ellen's rise and fall has been nothing short of tragic. Add to that the toll that aging, public opinion, and health issues take. This is a story that cuts deeper than celebrity gossip. Today, we examine the tragedy behind the smile, the struggles that Ellen DeGeneres faces in her later years, and how the fame that lifted her also cast a long, dark shadow. Ellen DeGeneres was not born into fame, nor did her path to stardom seem certain in the early years. Raised in Metairie, Louisiana, she grew up in a modest household, developing a sharp wit and a unique perspective on life that would later define her career. Her early years were marked by ordinary struggles, but Ellen had an extraordinary gift: the ability to make people laugh. This talent became her lifeline, carrying her through times of hardship and uncertainty. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Ellen began honing her craft in New Orleans comedy clubs, performing sets that were as observational as they were relatable. Audiences connected with her humor because it wasn't flashy. It was everyday life filtered through her clever lens. Her sharp timing and quirky charm quickly set her apart from other comedians of the time. By the mid-1980s, Ellen's career began to climb, leading to appearances on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, a milestone that cemented her as one of the rising stars in comedy. Carson's rare invitation for her to sit on the couch after her set was a turning point, signaling that Ellen was destined for something bigger. That something bigger arrived in the form of her sitcom, Ellen, which premiered in 1994. While it began as a traditional sitcom, it became groundbreaking in 1997 when Ellen's character came out as gay, mirroring her real-life revelation. This bold move made history. It was the first time a lead character on primetime television had openly identified as LGBTQ+. While the episode sparked both praise and backlash, it established Ellen as more than a comedian. She was now a cultural trailblazer. Though the controversy eventually led to the show's cancellation, Ellen's courage set the stage for greater acceptance in mainstream media. After years of career uncertainty, Ellen made an extraordinary comeback in 2003 with The Ellen DeGeneres Show. This daytime talk show transformed her from a stand-up comic into one of the most influential and beloved figures in television. The show's signature blend of humor, celebrity interviews, musical performances, and heartfelt human interest stories captured audiences instantly. Ellen's infectious laughter, lighthearted dancing, and her trademark motto, "Be kind," created a brand built on joy and compassion. For many, tuning into Ellen felt like visiting a friend every afternoon. Over the next 2 decades, Ellen's talk show became a juggernaut, winning dozens of daytime Emmy Awards and making her a household name across the globe. Beyond her comedic talents, she became a symbol of kindness, often surprising struggling families with life-changing gifts or uplifting everyday heroes with national recognition. She used her platform to support charitable causes, encourage inclusivity, and normalize conversations about LGBTQ+ rights, all while maintaining her signature sense of humor. Her marriage to actress Portia de Rossi in 2008 only amplified her public image as a figure of love and resilience. Together, the two became a power couple admired for their openness and their advocacy for equality. At this point, Ellen's life appeared to be a dream realized. She was wealthy, successful, influential, and adored by millions. For years, Ellen was untouchable in the entertainment world. Her influence stretched beyond television into voice acting in Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, product lines, and even a brief foray into creating her own lifestyle brand. By the mid-2010s, she was one of the most recognizable and trusted personalities in America. But even at the height of her success, cracks were beginning to form beneath the surface. The same public image of kindness that had built her empire would later be tested in ways that no one saw coming. What started as whispers of discontent would soon snowball into headlines that shocked the world and reshaped how millions viewed her legacy. By the late 2010s, Ellen DeGeneres was at the peak of her career. She had secured her place as one of the most beloved television personalities, and her talk show had become a cultural staple. But in 2020, everything changed. What began as murmurs of discontent from former staff members soon exploded into a full-blown controversy that would shake her reputation to its core. Reports surfaced that the Ellen DeGeneres show had fostered a toxic workplace environment. Accounts from employees described incidents of fear, intimidation, and mistreatment behind the cameras, an atmosphere starkly different from the cheerful, welcoming image projected on screen. For years, Ellen's brand had been built on kindness. Yet these allegations painted a troubling picture of what was happening when the cameras stopped rolling. The story gained momentum quickly, amplified by major media outlets and fueled by social media discussions. Critics accused Ellen of being distant, unapproachable, and even complicit in allowing inappropriate behavior to continue under her watch. Although some of her defenders pointed out that the allegations were primarily aimed at producers and senior staff members, Ellen herself became the face of the scandal. Public reaction was swift and unforgiving. The woman who had been celebrated as a symbol of compassion and positivity was suddenly portrayed as insincere. Memes and headlines mocked her "Be Kind" motto, turning what had once been her strength into a weapon against her. The controversy spread beyond Hollywood, sparking conversations worldwide about authenticity in public figures and the pressures of maintaining an image that may not align with reality. In 2020, Ellen addressed the scandal on air, offering an apology to her staff and viewers. She admitted that things had happened that never should have, and promised to make changes to improve the workplace culture. While some accepted her words as genuine, others viewed it as too little, too late. The damage had been done. The fallout was immense. Ratings for the Ellen DeGeneres show began to decline sharply. Audiences who once found comfort in Ellen's presence now turned away, disillusioned by the gap between her public persona and the allegations surrounding her show. For Ellen personally, the criticism was devastating. She later admitted in interviews that the backlash felt coordinated and too orchestrated to be random. She also revealed that the intense negativity had taken a deep emotional toll, leaving her feeling betrayed and broken. By 2021, Ellen announced that she would be ending her talk show after its 19th season. Officially, she explained that the show was no longer a creative challenge and that she wanted to explore new opportunities. But many saw it as a direct result of the controversy. The once celebrated queen of daytime television was leaving her throne not on her own terms, but under a cloud of doubt and disappointment. The end of the Ellen DeGeneres show marked a dramatic turning point in her career. For nearly 2 decades, the program had defined her identity, cemented her influence, and given her a platform to change lives. Now, that chapter was closing, leaving Ellen to face the daunting question of what comes next, and whether her reputation could ever be repaired. Her fall from grace wasn't just about the allegations themselves, but about the betrayal felt by fans who had believed in her image of kindness. In the eyes of many, the contrast between the Ellen they adored on screen and the Ellen described in reports was too great to reconcile. What had once been her greatest strength, her authenticity, was now at the center of her undoing. Yet even in the middle of this storm, Ellen remained defiant. She insisted that her true character had been misunderstood, and that the woman she was on screen was not an act, but an extension of her real self. Still, the controversy marked an undeniable shift in how the world viewed her, forever altering her once untouchable legacy. After the curtains closed on the Ellen DeGeneres show, many assumed Ellen would quietly enjoy her retirement years, far removed from the pressures of the spotlight. But behind the scenes, she was facing battles that went beyond career disappointments. At 67, Ellen has been remarkably candid about the health, challenges and personal struggles she has endured, issues that reveal a far more vulnerable side of the woman once considered untouchable. In September 2024, Ellen stunned fans when she revealed during her Netflix special For Your Approval that she had been diagnosed with osteoporosis, obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. The announcement caught many off guard. For years, Ellen projected boundless energy, whether she was dancing onto her stage or surprising guests with gifts. But now, she admitted that her body and mind were showing the strain of time and stress. With her trademark humor, she joked that she could disintegrate in the shower. But behind the laughter was a sobering truth. Aging had become a personal battle she could no longer hide. Osteoporosis, in particular, carries serious implications. Known as the silent disease, it weakens bones and increases the risk of fractures, making even simple falls potentially life-threatening. For someone like Ellen, who thrived on physical comedy and movement, this diagnosis was a reminder that her body was not invincible. Coupled with OCD and ADHD, conditions that affect daily life, focus, and peace of mind, the reality of her health struggles painted a picture of a woman grappling with more than just a tarnished reputation. The timing of these revelations only added to the heartbreak. They came after the intense public scrutiny that followed the workplace scandal. For years, Ellen had carried the burden of defending herself against accusations that contradicted everything she stood for. Friends and insiders have suggested that the weight of the backlash not only damaged her career, but also took a toll on her health. Stress, anxiety, and emotional strain are known contributors to worsening physical conditions. And in Ellen's case, the connection seems painfully clear. Her personal life, too, has been tested in the aftermath. Though she remains deeply committed to her wife, Portia de Rossi, the couple has faced the pressure of constant media speculation. Rumors about marital tension circulated during the height of the controversy, though Ellen and Portia consistently denied them, presenting a united front. Portia, by all accounts, has been Ellen's anchor, a source of unwavering support as Ellen confronts both her health issues and her struggles with public perception. Away from the cameras, Ellen has sought refuge in private life. She sold several of her California properties and shifted much of her time to the quieter countryside of the Cotswolds in England. The move, insiders suggest, was not just about escaping Hollywood, but about reclaiming peace. The hustle of celebrity life no longer suited her. What she craved was simplicity, privacy, and a slower pace where she could heal physically and emotionally. But even in this retreat, Ellen has wrestled with loneliness and the haunting shadow of her legacy. For decades, she was defined by her ability to connect with millions, to make audiences feel seen and uplifted. Now, she has admitted to feeling isolated, unsure of how the world truly sees her after the fall. It's a tragedy not just of health, but of identity, the loss of the role that once gave her life purpose. Despite these hardships, Ellen continues to lean on humor as her shield. She has always believed that laughter is a form of resilience, and even now she uses it to soften the sting of her struggles. Still, beneath the jokes lies a woman facing the harsh realities of aging, illness, and regret. The tragedy of Ellen DeGeneres at 67 is not only in the scandals that altered her career, but also in the deeply human battles she faces each day, reminders that fame offers no immunity from the pain of life. When Ellen DeGeneres stepped away from her talk show in 2022, it felt like the end of an era. For nearly 2 decades, she had been a fixture in living rooms across America, a beacon of laughter and lightness during the ups and downs of everyday life. But her departure didn't come with the celebration and nostalgia one might expect for such a cultural icon. Instead, it was clouded by controversy, disappointment, and unanswered questions about who she truly was behind the scenes. In the years since, Ellen has struggled to reconcile her legacy with the reality of how she is now perceived. For some, She will always be remembered as the trailblazer who broke barriers in comedy and television. The woman who made history by coming out on national television and paving the way for greater LGBTQ+ representation in media. For others, the allegations of a toxic workplace have forever tarnished her image, making her a cautionary tale about the dangers of building a brand on kindness when the reality doesn't seem to match. This duality is the tragedy of Ellen's legacy. Her career was built on authenticity, on being the funny, kind, approachable woman who never seemed to take life too seriously. Yet, the controversies of 2020 fractured that carefully constructed identity. Suddenly, the same authenticity that had made her beloved became the very thing questioned. Who was Ellen, really? Was the woman dancing onto stage each afternoon genuine, or was it just an act? In her personal life, Ellen has sought to create a new sense of normalcy. She and Portia de Rossi have retreated from the public eye, spending more time at their estate in the Cotswolds, where the quiet countryside offers a reprieve from the relentless glare of Hollywood. Friends say Ellen enjoys the slower pace, tending to her animals, indulging in gardening, and finding comfort in the privacy she never had during her talk show years. Yet, the silence has also forced her to confront her own insecurities. Without the daily adoration of millions of viewers, she has been left to wrestle with her own reflection. Financially, Ellen is secure. Her decades-long career has earned her hundreds of millions. But the wealth does little to heal the sting of a legacy that feels fractured. For someone who spent years embodying the motto, "Be kind," the irony of her downfall has been especially cruel. She once defined herself as the antidote to negativity, a source of joy in dark times, and now she finds herself cast as a symbol of hypocrisy. That shift is not just career-ending, it's identity-shattering, and yet not all is lost. Ellen still has her loyal fans, those who remember the laughter she brought, the walls she broke down, and the lives she touched. She continues to support charitable causes quietly, away from cameras, choosing to give back without seeking recognition. Some believe time may soften her public image, allowing her contributions to be appreciated again in hindsight. Others are less certain, arguing that the damage has already been done. The tragedy, perhaps, lies not only in what happened, but in what might have been. Ellen could have retired as one of the most universally beloved figures in television history, celebrated for her humor, her courage, and her heart. Instead, her story is now one of complexity, a reminder that fame is fragile and legacies can shift in an instant. At 67, Ellen DeGeneres stands at a crossroads. Her days of dominating the screen are behind her, but her influence lingers, both as inspiration and as warning. The brokenness of her legacy doesn't erase the joy she once brought, nor the history she helped write. But it does leave a haunting question for fans and critics alike. When the laughter fades and the spotlight dims, how will Ellen truly be remembered?